What's up, Dyers? Dargoon here. Welcome back to another video in the Roblox Upper Survival game, basically. I haven't done these in a long time. Now, this video is going to be going over some changes, at least, for the Juggernaut and some other things in the game that have been bugging me for quite a while, and I'm pretty sure everybody else as well. Now, there is a lot of new updates and changes for most of the zombies yesterday. One of my favorites is the Juggernauts, the Riots, and I'm pretty sure that's it because the Riot looks very beastly in my opinion. Now, yeah, the video is going to be going over the Juggernaut and most of the changes that they actually have in the game now, which kind of got a little bit of time to get used to, but anyway, let's do this. One of the things Toa and the rest of his team put into the game was the change of the, location of the buttons. They used to be on the bottom of the screen, but now are on the far right on the screen, where the stamina up is, but above it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, kind of there is, where it's just like, where the hell would my buttons go? I don't even know what I'm pressing. I don't know, like that. But it says it on the screen that what button is what. But one of the things that's been bugging me since basically day one, or basically yesterday, was the fact that when you use, for an example, let's say you're the hunter, and you have your basic attack, which is, I don't know, whatever button, and you have the leap attack, which is whatever button else. So, for an example, you leap, and then you are going to basic attack, but you can't for some reason for like a few milliseconds, and you're just like, wait, what? And then you can again. You're just like, whoa, that was a glitch. And then you decide to basic attack repeatedly, and then you want to basically leap. You can't because for some reason there is a brief cooldown for each ability. For a basic attack, there's a brief cooldown, so you can't use any of the other abilities as well. You have to wait for the cooldown to finish just so you can use everything else. Why is this a thing? Now we move on to the Juggernaut. There has been so many new changes to the Juggernaut that I basically have to put them all in order. Number one, which I find the most difficult one, and just why would you do this change, which is the rock aimbot one. Before, you used to basically just unleash the rock ability on the Juggernaut, and basically whichever human was basically the closest to the Juggernaut, it would instantly aimbot on that survivor, and it would basically throw the rock at him, no matter what. But now, you have to actually aim your rock at the survivors, which seems reasonable enough if you really think about it. But the problem with this ability is the fact that most of the time, there's two basically different terrible negative situations in this. Number one is the elevated rock throws, and the other one is the rock not registering, right? So the aimbot rock elevated one is basically when, for an example, you're on top of a tree, and you are, of course, the Juggernaut, and you press the rock button, and no matter what, in what direction or angle you're looking at, the rock will only go constant forward straight. Basically, no matter what direction you're facing, that is where the Juggernaut's rock will throw it. Now, if you're facing downwards at like a 30-degree angle or something like that, then it doesn't matter. The rock will only go straight forward and nowhere near down or up or whatever it is. Which is basically meaning that if you're playing the map, for an example, the old map Swamp, where if the Juggernaut is on top of the hill, you only have to take like 3 steps down the hill, and you could basically avoid his rock because, well, he can't throw the rock down to you or basically like on top of you. It will go instead over you or underneath you and basically not even hitting you at all, which I'm pretty sure is game breaking. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that when you throw the rock, there is like a few seconds. You know how that animation happens when you throw the rock? Right before you throw the rock, the game registers saying, oh, this is the direction you're going to throw the rock at. Alright, so I'm just going to, throw the rock there. But what if a survivor takes like a sharp turn and tries to avoid it? Of course, you move your, cursor or whatever it is onto that player at the very last second. But instead, the game is just like, well, you already made a decision, so you can't make a new decision, right? Yeah, that's basically how it works. So, it's kind of difficult to explain this, but for an example, if you're a Juggernaut, you're chasing somebody, and you pull out the rock animation, and when the Juggernaut puts his hands on the ground, puts it to his face and over his head, just about to throw it, and the survivor takes a sharp right turn, you like move, of course, like your aiming thing to the survivor's current position after they took the turn. So you're just like, oh, you're not gonna avoid this rock, but instead after like this is so difficult to explain, but it takes like 4 seconds for the animation, and after those 4 seconds, you made your decision. But before the animation ends, the survivor you made a new decision and you wanted to throw the rock at a different location, but instead the game doesn't do that, and instead throws it at the last location before the animation happened. So in summarization, but when you want to make a second decision or make like a fast reaction to a survivor making a new direction and stuff like that, you can't, because the rock is already chosen a location and direction to actually be thrown at, and you can't change it anymore, which causes you to significantly miss the rock throw by miles. You do not know how many times survivors dodge the rock with them avoiding it so dramatically, like hard, I think. I don't know. Okay, that sounded really wrong. You can make a lot of jokes from that. But yes, the rock needs a little bit more work, because if you want to make a new decision on where you want the rock to be thrown, you can't, because the rock has already chosen a decision or a placement where to be thrown at, and no matter what direction you're looking at, the game will register that you've already chosen a decision, and will throw the rock currently at your old direction you're facing, basically. Now, one of the other things they made into the game for the Juggernaut was the knockback thing. Now, basically, if you use your basic attack on a survivor, anything but the Juggernaut armor, it would knock them back just a few steps. I was originally going to make this video a little bit earlier saying, hey, you should probably make it so it affects Juggernauts as well. But I didn't even have to do that because, well, Toa already made the decision that it can affect Juggernaut armor players as well, giving them a more disadvantage to the Juggernaut, which I think is very equal because, well, they already removed the knockback for the Riot for the Juggernaut armor, which I think is like one of the weirdest and strangest decisions. But now that the Juggernaut armor knockback affects the player's Juggernaut armor, makes it so that the zombies have a little bit more of an advantage, because if this was not in the game, the Juggernaut would be basically useless against the Juggernaut armored players because of the elevated ability, the rock not registering like fast enough or old enough or something like that, and also the fact that the knockback ability would not affect them, giving the Juggernaut and the zombie enemy team a very disadvantage. But thankfully, they added it so the knockback thing actually works against the Juggernaut armored players. And the best tip advice I can actually say for the Juggernaut players fighting the Juggernaut armored players is to basically push the Juggernaut players off Juggernaut armored players off buildings or something like that because of the knockback ability, or punching them into a corner so they can't move at all. You do not know how annoyingly awesome this is. Punching them into corners and constantly doing them makes them unreliably helpless to basically able to escape from that. And that's basically why I think that move was one of the best decisions they probably ever made. Now, that's basically all I wanted to talk about. So in summarization, the button, what was it? The button cooldown for basically all the other buttons, the Juggernauts, elevated rock throw, the Juggernaut's aimbot registration, fix, and also the fact that when they added the punch thing, it affects now Juggernaut armored players, making it a little bit more easier to take them out, and more or less making the game a little bit more equal. Good job, Toa, the rest of the team. You did another great deed. One of the, updates, fuck's sake. Now, what was that thing called? Button mashing. I think, for fuck. Okay, so when the Juggernaut is beating them in the corner, that's one of the tips. Like beating the crap out of like some sort of WWE character. Okay, I should probably not go that far. What's up, Dyers? Darkwoman here. Thank you guys so much for watching all my videos. It warms my heart. It makes everything great again. And I just want to thank Toa and the rest of the team for basically making this game great again. Let's try to get them to 50,000 likes, which I'm pretty sure is going to be very close. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you all in 5 years.